Oh no, this is bad. I'm too young to die. I'm too boring to die. It's been nice knowing you, buddy. Oh, phew. I thought we were in real trouble there for a second. You scared us, you cute little guy. Boop. Ah! I should have booped his cute little nose.
Don't call me cute.
The boop was too much.
This is my city. You are on my turf.
How can someone so cute be so violent?
I said don't call me cute.
On the set. I am Michael Faulkner, and it is showtime at the August 8th, 2017 edition of the Weekly Podioplex, brought to you on the Chronic Riff Network. This week's birthdays include Salil Moon Fry, Punky Brewster herself, Charlize Theron from Atomic Blonde, David Duchovny and Gillian Anderson, both from The X-Files, Pitch Perfect's Anna Kendrick, Kevin McKidd from Grey's Anatomy and Journeyman. God, I miss Journeyman. Ashley Johnson from Blindspot and The Avengers, Chris Hemsworth, Marvel's Thor, Viola Davis from Hidden Figures, and The Emperor, Ian McDiarmid. Starting with the box office report, Good vs. Evil was a champion, tainted by low attendance. At number 10 is Despicable Me 3, down 3 from 7th. At number 9 is War for the Planet of the Apes, down 3 from 6th. At 8th is Detroit, up 8 from 16th after entering wide release. This weekend added $7.1 million to a total of $7.6 million, and that's actually a disappointment against expectations that were double these figures. Audiences were favorable with an A- cinema score, and critics gave it an 86% reception, so maybe, just maybe, word of mouth will help buoy this title up in coming weeks. In 7th is Atomic Blonde, down 3 from 4th, and finishing off this week's bottom 5 is Spider-Man Homecoming, down 1 from 5th. The top 5 this week begin with new release Kidnap, earning $10 million. That's near the top end of expectations, and audiences were mostly favorable with a B+ cinema score. Critics were not so content with a 39%. In 4th place is Girls Trip, down 1 from 3rd with $11.4 million, as to a total of $85.4 million. In 3rd place is The Emoji Movie, down 1 from 2nd with $12 million to a total of $49.1 million. In 2nd is last week's winner, Dunkirk, adding $17.1 million to a total of $133.1 million. And this week's winner is The Dark Tower, premiering to $19.2 million. This film took $60 million to produce, and that's disappointing based on both performance and anticipation. Of course, this is the second largest opening for Stephen King's adaptations behind 1408, but this cap on the weekend is actually a capsule review of the weekend, which is the lowest grossing period of the summer and the 6th lowest of the year. The Dark Tower earned a B from audiences and an 18% from critics. Let's close out the box office report with the look was winning in years gone by. 5 years ago in 2012, The Bourne Legacy took number 1 with $38.1 million. 10 years ago in 2007, Rush Hour 3 won the weekend with $49.1 million. 20 years ago in 1997, Conspiracy Theory was the winner with $19.3 million. 30 years ago in 1987, The Living Daylights took the title for a second week with $7.7 million. And 40 years ago, in 1977, The Spy Who Loved Me won the box office crown with $6.7 million. The box office premieres for August 11th begin with nuts and end with horror. This week's headliner is The Nut Job 2, Nutty by Nature, an animated comedy starring Will Arnett, Katherine Heigl, and Maya Rudolph.
Wants to eat today.
Oh, come on, she's gonna feed us.
I make it a rule to never take food from psychos. But I'm starving.
Frankie, sit! Stand on your hind legs!
you a circus dog?
I could be. You got a thing for circus dogs? You got me. Ooh. Ah. You got me.
Man, that is dark.
Good boy. Life is easy when you do exactly what you're told. Now it's your turn. Roll over. I said roll over!
What are you doing? Roll over.
I don't know how. I'm not classically trained.
Oh boy, this ain't gonna be good.
Following the events of the first film, Surly and his friends must stop Oakton City's mayor from destroying their home to make way for a dysfunctional amusement park. The Nut Job 2, Nutty by Nature, is rated PG. The second title is The Glass Castle, a biographical drama starring Brie Larson, Woody Harrelson, and Naomi Watts.
Mom? So, your dad said he saw you pass by in a cab the other night. Acted like we weren't even there. You shouldn't be ashamed of us, just because we choose a different lifestyle than you.
Being homeless in New York City does not count as a lifestyle choice.
Well, if we heard from you more, you'd know that we found a lovely place on the Lower East Side.
Lori says you're squatting in an abandoned building. That does not sound safe, Mom.
When did you lose your sense of adventure?
I have a little bit of money now. I can help you if you want.
We're fine. You're the one who needs help. Look at you. Pure values are all confused.
A young girl comes of age in a dysfunctional family of non-conformist nomads, with a mother who's an eccentric artist, and an alcoholic father who would stir the children's imagination with hope as a distraction to their poverty. The Glass Castle is rated PG-13. And number 3 on this list is Annabelle Creation, a horror thriller starring Stephanie Sigmund, Miranda Otto, and Lulu Wilson.
She wanted permission to move into the doll so she could be with us forever. We said yes, and that's when it became stronger.
Several years after the tragic death of their little girl, a doll maker and his wife welcome a nun and several girls from a shuttered orphanage into their home, soon becoming the target of the doll maker's possessed creation, Annabelle. Annabelle Creation is rated R. There are also 3 titles on this week's limited slate, and you can find all of those in the show notes. Next up is a look at the home entertainment slate for the week of August 8th, and it's heavy on movies and light on TV. I'll start with new releases on DVD and Blu-ray, and that list begins with King Arthur, Legend of the Sword, a fantasy adventure film starring Charlie Hunnam, Jude Law, and Astrid Burgess Frisbee. Robbed of his birthright, Arthur comes up the hard way in the back alleys of the city, but once he pulls the sword from the stone, he is forced to acknowledge his true legacy, whether he likes it or not. King Arthur, Legend of the Sword is rated PG-13. Number 2 on the list is Snatched, a comedy starring Amy Schumer, Goldie Hawn, and Ike Barinholtz. When her boyfriend dumps her, Emily, a spontaneous woman in her 30s, persuades her ultra-cautious mom to accompany her on a vacation to Ecuador. At Emily's insistence, the pair seek out adventure, but suddenly find themselves kidnapped. When these two very different women are trapped on this wild journey, their bond as mother and daughter is tested and strengthened while they attempt to navigate the jungle and escape. Snatched is rated R. And number 3 is Diary of a Wimpy Kid, The Long Haul, a comedy starring Alicia Silverstone, Tom Everett Scott, and Chris Coppola. Greg convinces his family to take a road trip to attend his great-grandmother's 90th birthday as a cover for what he really wants, to attend a nearby gaming convention. Unsurprisingly, things do not go according to plan, and Heffley family antics ensue. Diary of a Wimpy Kid: The Long Haul is rated PG. Swinging by new releases on digital video, I have one title to share, and that one is Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, an action-adventure film from Marvel's Cinematic Universe, starring Chris Pratt, Zoe Saldana, and Dave Bautista. Set to the backdrop of awesome mixtape number 2, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 continues the team's adventures as they unravel the mystery of Peter Quill's true parentage. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 is rated PG-13. Moving right along to TV on DVD and Blu-ray, the only title this week is Blindspot, Season 2 from 2016, starring Jamie Alexander, Sullivan Stapleton, and Ashley Johnson. Blindspot returns for a high-octane second season as the mystery behind Jane Doe continues to deepen. After the shocking events in the first season's finale, we learn that Jane is not who she, or Kurt Weller's FBI team, thought she was. Season 2 continues to unravel the conspiracy behind her missing identity and her former life with the shadowy organization known as Sandstorm. New faces appear on the faceless organization with the addition of Luke Mitchell and Michelle Hurd, as members of the shadowy team that initially sent Jane to the FBI. In addition, The Good Wife's Archie Panjabi joins the second season as the head of a secret division within the NSA that's also been tracking Jane Doe's case from afar. With everything somehow connected to Jane and her cryptic tattoos, the riddle of clues inked in her skin and erased from her mind is more crucial than ever. I'll wrap up the home entertainment slate with Blu-rays from the past, and this week I bring you two titles. The first is Teen Wolf, a comedy from 1985 starring Michael J. Fox, James Hampton, and Susan Ursitti. A teenager discovers that puberty for him means turning into a werewolf. One of the beneficial side effects is that he also turns into a top-notch basketball player. But will his notoriety cost him his friends, and can he find true love? Teen Wolf is rated PG. The other title is Teen Wolf 2, a comedy from 1987 starring Jason Bateman, Kim Darby, and John Aston. Todd Howard is a struggling teenager, and nothing seems to be going very well for him until he turns into a wolf. Teen Wolf 2 is rated PG. After this brief break for about a shameless podcast cross-promotion, the Weekly Podioplex will continue.
Those were apes, weren't they? What kind of planet is this?
Hey, ape fans, this is Richard.
And this is Mark.
Join us on our Planet of the Apes podcast, Talking Apes TV, where we take an in-depth look at the Apes TV series from 1974 and see why it still stands up after 40 years.
And we get to the hard-hitting questions like, how does Urko's top-heavy helmet stay on his head? Why doesn't Pete have a backstory? Or doesn't that kid grow up to be Freddy Krueger?
It's all lies. Apes have always ruled the world. Always!
You can find us on iTunes, Stitcher, and the Shot Glass Digital Network. Join us for an Urko-tastic time. And if you're a fan of the series, you'll know what that means.
They were right, Sayers. Maybe the world would be better if no creature controlled another, if all worked together as equals.
And welcome back to the Weekly Podioplex. I'm Denise with your Quick Flicks. Okay guys, I know you love Game of Thrones. I love Game of Thrones. It's a great show. We'll probably never get the next book, but whatever, that's okay, we'll survive. What isn't okay is buying a husky because he looks like a direwolf, naming him Ghost, and then depositing him at the shelter. What the hell? Here's the thing. Huskies are bred for hauling large loads on sleds. They're sled dogs. That's their purpose in life. They weigh 65 pounds or more and have a massive amount of energy, which means they need to be exercised frequently and for rather long periods of time so they can burn that energy off. They like to talk. It's adorable. Look on YouTube if you don't believe me. And because they're dogs bred for the harshness of an Alaska winter, they have a double coat, which means they shed in the summer. A lot. I don't care how cute they are. I don't care how much this one looks like Nymira or that one Grey Wind. Stop buying things if you can't take care of them properly. A dog is a living thing. He's a breathing thing. And much like a human child, it cannot take care of itself and relies on you for everything. Dogs are wonderful. I love them more than people sometimes, but they are work. And more than that, they are a being with feelings, and they do very much feel pain, both physical and emotional. No one wants to be abandoned. So stop it. I don't care how much your kid wants a ghost of his own. If you cannot properly care for a husky, get your kid a goldfish and tell the tiny human it came all the way from Westeros or something. Shelters are already stretched thin. Don't add more bodies to their count, and for the love of everything holy, don't bloody be one of those people who does something because of a show's popularity. And also to you, internet trolls out there who are so hell-bent on ruining every nice thing we have in this world, the Weekly Podioplex stands with women creators everywhere. Make mine milkshake and go find a 6-foot hole to lie in. Up first, Ant-Man and the Wasp begins filming. The official synopsis has been revealed. Huzzah! Marvel Studios has confirmed that production is officially underway on the Marvel Cinematic Universe sequel, Ant-Man and the Wasp. As the title suggests, the movie sees Scott Lang, Paul Rudd, as Ant-Man and Hope Van Dyne, Evangeline Lilly, as Wasp, joining forces in order to battle nefarious enemies in the MCU. The sequel will mark the first time the Wasp will don her mother's uniform on the big screen. Joining Rudd and Lilly, as well as Michael Douglas, back as Hank Pym, the original Ant-Man, are Michelle Pfeiffer, Lawrence Fishburne, and Hannah John Kamen as both friends and foes to the eponymous superheroes. The synopsis is as follows. In the aftermath of Captain America's Civil War, Scott Lang, Rudd, grapples with the consequences of his choices as both a superhero and father. As he struggles to rebalance his home life with his responsibilities as Ant-Man, he's confronted by Hope Van Dyne, Lilly, and Dr. Hank Pym, Douglas, with an urgent new mission. Scott must once again put on the suit and learn to fight alongside the Wasp as the team works together to uncover secrets from their past. Pfeiffer is confirmed to be co-starring in the film as Janet Van Dyne, the original Wasp and Hope's mother, who has been trapped in the quantum realm for several decades by the time Ant-Man's sequel picks up. It has also been confirmed that the 2019 MCU solo film Captain Marvel will revisit the quantum realm, but Ant-Man and the Wasp will shed more light on that mysterious micro-dimension prior to that. Janet isn't the only person from Hank's past who will be appearing in Ant-Man and the Wasp either. Fishburne is playing Dr. Bill Foster, aka the size-changing superhero Goliath, who may or may not be coming out of retirement in the film to help Scott, Hope, and Hank battle their new enemy, presumed to be Sonny Birch, the Cross Technologies executive who looks to have assumed control of the company following Darren Cross's demise in the first Ant-Man. Man, this is gonna be awesome! I can't wait! Up next, Nintendo SNES Classic is available for pre-order this month. If you're going to pre-order, be prepared for a flawed rollout. Seriously, you guys, Nintendo has a history of this. They are attempting to allay those fears by promising that widespread retailer pre-sales are around the corner. The SNES Classic is a pint-sized version of the original SNES system, one of Nintendo's most beloved consoles. It comes with 21 built-in games, virtually all of them classics. As fans, including myself, worry about a potential repeat of the NES Classic debacle, Nintendo is making it known they are ready this time. Via their official Facebook account, Nintendo has promised they understand the level of anticipation and that pre-orders will begin at the end of August. And while they're not offering a hard number of systems in production, they appear to be promising significantly more units than the NES Classic and a steady stream of shipments through the end of 2017. I will be so mad if my pre-order turns out to be for nothing. My sister would love this, and with her being in college, it'll be a great stress reliever. Come through, Nintendo, we're depending on you. Next, Pacific Rim Uprising has been moved to March 2018. Why, though? The follow-up to Guillermo del Toro's original Robots vs. Kaiju movie has had a less than smooth journey to the big screen. After several delays, it looked like it had been cancelled, with del Toro stepping away from directorial duties. However, Daredevil showrunner Stephen S. DeKnight took the reins, and a confirmed date was given for release on February 23, 2018. The film was also given a boost with John Boyega joining the cast as the son of Idris Elba's character, along with Scott Eastwood, Jing Tian, Kaylee Spaney, Rinko Kikuchi, Bern Gorman, Adria Arjona, and Charlie Day. The trailer at SDCC was also promising, and more recently, Boyega has stated with confidence that the film will be larger than life. And yet, according to Deadline, the release date has now been officially changed to March 23, 2018. It's not a huge change in terms of an actual time span, but the reason for the shift isn't known. It also means that the film will be almost directly up against some other probable heavy hitters at the box office. This puts the movie coming out at the same time as Robin Hood Origins with Jamie Foxx, and 1 week before Steven Spielberg's Ready Player One, which, according to the hype on my Facebook feed, everybody and their grandmother wants to go see. I don't get it. I mean, I never read the book. I heard terrible things. I don't know, whatever. I was born at the end of the 80s, you guys. Just, yeah. But we'll see if the Pacific Rim sequel lives up to the hype. I, for one, am excited about the sequel. Pacific Rim is one of my favorite go-to movies when I'm down, and I want to see monsters and Gundams beating the crap out of each other. Plus, I mean, Ron Perlman. And that's it for this week's Quick Flicks. I'll see you guys next time on the Weekly Podioplex.
Thank you, Denise. And here we are once again at the end of a new edition of the Weekly Podioplex. If you want to discuss anything you heard on this week's edition, we would love to hear from you. You can surf on over to the Chronic Rift homepage at chronicrift.com and leave an audio message right there on the website using your microphone. You can also write an email or send an MP3 to weeklypodioplex@gmail.com. If 140 characters or less is more your thing, you can still tweet us on Twitter. The Chronic Rift is chronic_rift. The Weekly Podioplex is Weekly Podioplex. Denise is Riley James Keith, and I am Womprat99, like the creature who looked at Bullseye in his T16 in Beggar's Canyon. You can give the Chronic Rift a thumbs up on Stitcher Radio, leave us a review on iTunes, and you can find the Weekly Podioplex and the Chronic Rift on Facebook. The usual disclaimer applies, of course. If you leave us feedback, you may hear your words on a future edition of the Weekly Podioplex. Take a moment, stop on by, and see what other shows the Chronic Rift Network has to offer. We have Cyborgs, a bionic podcast, the Batcave podcast, the Hornet Sting podcast, the OSI Files podcast, the G2V podcast, Generations Geek, presenting the transcription feature, the Dan and Travis Show, the Sci-Fi Diner podcast, Doctor Who and Mr. Drew, the Home Game Show version podcast, and so much more. If you have a Roku player, you can treat it like a time machine and find us there on the Chronic Rift's Roku channel, where we have episodes of the Chronic Rift's adventures in the 1990s when it was a public access television show on the New York City airwaves. Check us out and find the culture in pop culture. If you're interested in more of my adventures, take a quick trip to my blog, Creative Criticality, where I'm watching every episode of Doctor Who for the first time from the very beginning of that franchise and reviewing those tales in the Timestamps Project. Right now, the blog is in the middle of the 19th season, the first season with the 5th Doctor, and those reviews can be found at creativecriticality.wordpress.com. You can also find Creative Criticality on Facebook. Denise can also be found on the internet at Accessories Not Included, where she talks about her writing, reviews books, and offers her services as a cover designer. Check her out at accessoriesnotincluded.com. If you decide to pick up any of this week's new releases, why not do it through our Amazon store? You get the newest entertainment at Amazon's low prices and high quality service, and each purchase you make at that store supports the Chronic Rift Network. Your support keeps us on the air, and we appreciate your consideration. Look for the links to our best bets in the network store in our show notes, or click the Amazon box on the website. The Weekly Podioplex is a Lucky Shot production and is produced by John S. Drew. On behalf of Denise and John, this is Michael Faulkner. Thanks for listening. Until next time, there are adventures and drama, comedy and action, worlds to explore in the depths of film. Get some popcorn. Find your favorite seat, and I'll see you at the theater. That's a wrap!